15 for a second before I actually start my Pokemon videos today. This is actually a Final Fantasy video. First off, this is how small the print is for if you play the game. Like this. Pretend this is, say, normal font size for normal font size for a regular person. Like this, right? But it's more like this. It's teeny weeny. You can't even. It's like that. You could barely see what to make of your items and stuff. Like, it took me a while to actually understand what I had to do for the actual controls, because I could not zoom in, or there was no way to fix that function. In the other Final Fantasy X game, you could actually see what you were actually doing for each one of your characters. Oops. But in this one, you can't see what you're doing. Like, sometimes I have trouble playing that game because it took me a while to understand why my characters would not level up, because I thought this was done by a spirit grid, which it is, like 10 is, but their spirit grids are all connected. They're not separate. And there's a lot of unnecessary money grinding too, and item grinding. That's what makes it like 13 and 12 mixed in with. And the material system that they use in that game makes it like 7. So you're looking at 4 different Final Fantasies, 4 Final Fantasy games in one, which, that's kind of funny when you think about it. But the font size is the major issue for players, because I have a 42-inch TV, and I've read the forums on that too, and they're not just saying, I'm not just the one saying it, other players are too. In Final Fantasy history, that's probably one of the smallest font sizes that they've ever used in any of these games. The only reason why I would think they would use such a minuscule font size is so the older generation of developers stays at their job a lot longer than necessary based on the font size. I bet you the developers can't even see that. Or because they made the thing, they can't actually see that. But they should have actually made it a decent size, more like this, instead of big. Like, the numbers are like this, meaning it's not that big, like for your health and stuff, but the rest of the whole entire game, the font size is like this. It's super tiny. super, super tiny. And that's why. But they made it like 10. Like I said, they made it like 10, 7, 12, and 13. Because the item system for selling, after you defeat your enemies and stuff, you get items. So, and you could sell them off. So make money that way in Final Fantasy 15. But the difficulty level is like more like 12. Because they use a lot of chain attacks, which I'm not used to playing that way. I'm used to playing turn-based. So, to my buddy that wants to actually get Final Fantasy, that's up to you, man. I'm not gonna make that decision for you. I'm really not, because I'm a Final Fantasy fan, don't get me wrong, but that's up to you. I can't make that ultimate decision for you, but I hope that I showed you enough gameplay without my face on screen that you're gonna do a lot of I did level grinding for at least 2 hours just to get extra money and stuff for the game itself. But now that I think about it, I'm gonna have to do even more. That's why I haven't actually done Final Fantasy in a while, because I know it's gonna take me a long time, and I need 100% of myself to actually focus on one game at a time. And Final Fantasy, well, what seems more logical for me to beat first? Pokemon or Final Fantasy 15? I think it's gonna be Pokemon first and foremost. But I will get back to Final Fantasy as soon as I can, because I'm in no rush to actually beat the game. And to all the Final Fantasy players that played Final Fantasy 15, that are complaining about the font size, they're not gonna fix it. The developers are not gonna go in. They're not gonna make a patch for it. I guarantee it, because I call Square Enix on a daily basis when it came to Deus Ex, because of all the problems that they had. Because I don't have a computer, so, and plus I can't type in to the forums like you guys can, so I call things in. And you know what they told me? That it's part of the game. Okay, if it's part of the game, why did they make it so small in the first place? It's like the font size is like this. The characters are like this size, while the enemies are jumbo sized. Especially that bigger one. It's like this, and then your character is like this. So I could see the size, why they went with the font size, but that size is unnecessary. At least in my opinion. Because there's no way to fix that, because that's a permanent staple of the game. I think the game developers did that on purpose, because they want to keep their jobs a lot longer than necessary. Or the owners I don't think the owners of Square, or the owner of Square doesn't, I don't think he does play games anymore, so, or he doesn't play games at all, he just bought the company and says, the overseers actually need, if I owned a company like Square, I would actually go into the development team and say, and look at it myself, and see if I could actually read it for gaming purposes. Because that font size that they use is like nothing. It's like super tiny. But I got used to it. But I don't see them fixing it ever. Everybody says, like at least 20 other people said for Final Fantasy 15 that the font size is too small. That's a small thing, but I hope it's enough for them to actually fix it, but I don't think so. I don't think they're ever gonna bother with our complaints about Final Fantasy 15 because it's already been done. If they wanted to actually do it, they would have actually delayed the game again and actually came up with a decent font size for the game. They're not gonna even come out with a patch for it. I guarantee it. Because the game's already been out for what? Almost 2 months already? Give or take? Or a little bit longer than that, but for 15, I'll just have to hold off on that thing to a later date because I'm focusing in on Pokemon first rather than 15 because I know how much level grinding I have to do now. So I think that's gonna be it. Well, I'll be back in probably 2 minutes because I have to actually upload myself again and retitle my video because now I'm gonna play Pokemon instead. So see you guys later.
Text to speech unavailable. Text to speech unavailable.